My name is Travis Arrington from St. George Parish, New Baden. I will be reading Chapter 30, the Sixth Commandment, Marital Fidelity. Pope Paul VI, a shepherd for the renewal of the Church. The Second Vatican Council was a major event in the life of the Catholic Church in the 20th century, from 1962 until 1965. It brought together approximately 2,500 bishops from all over the world for the 4 sessions in Rome, each session lasting about 3 months, to discuss and make decisions about the life of the Church in the modern world. Blessed John the 23rd had convoked the council and presided over its first session. When he died in June of 1963, the College of Cardinals elected his successor, Cardinal Giovanni Battista Montini, who took the name Paul VI. Pope Paul VI presided over the next 2 sessions of the council and guided the Church through the time of change and renewal that followed the council. Giovanni Battista Montini was born in northern Italy in 1897. He was ordained a priest in 1920 and 2 years later began service in the Vatican's Secretariat of State. He worked very closely with Pope Pius XII until 1954, when he was named Archbishop of Milan. In 1958, Blessed John the 23rd named him to the College of Cardinals. His knowledge of the universal Church through service in the Holy See, his intellectual abilities and wide reading theology, and his pastoral experience in Milan all served him well when he was elected Pope. His constant concern was to maintain the unity of the Catholic Church, even in times of considerable controversy. He guided the Church through a series of reforms and the renewal of the liturgy. In 1970, he authorized the publication of a new Roman Missal. He fostered dialogue with other churches and ecclesial communities. He worked diligently for peace, even visiting the headquarters of the United Nations in New York in 1964 to deliver an urgent appeal against war. Throughout his pontificate, Paul VI emphasized the importance of the family of the Church and society. In his apostolic exhortation on evangelization in the modern world of 1975, he wrote, "The family, just like the Church, must always be regarded as a center of which the gospel must be bought and from which it must be proclaimed. Therefore, in a family which is conscious of this role, all the members of the family are evangelizers and are themselves evangelized." Because of the controversy in the Church surrounding the morality of artificial contraception, he issued his encyclical on the regulation of birth in July of 1968. He reaffirmed the teaching of the Church that artificial contraception is gravely immoral because it contravenes God's will for the conjugal act, which unless the spouses end their love, it must also be open to the creation of new life. He warned of the consequences for the moral tenure of society that would come from ignoring God's plan. He recognized the difficulties that married couples might have in following the teaching, but he encouraged them to have constant recourse to God's grace through the sacrament of penance and reconciliation and the sacrament of the Eucharist. Pope Paul VI was a courageous shepherd for the renewal of the Church and the defense of her teaching. The cause for his beatification was initiated in 1993. Pope Paul VI's clear teaching on family, marriage, and moral issues such as artificial contraception shows him to be a most important figure in fostering the values and virtues embodied in the Sixth Commandment.